What's up? Welcome to day 2 of the No More Mr. Nice Guy 5-day workshop. In this workshop, I'm going to show you how to stop being a nice guy and start being the kind of powerful man that quality women want. Chances are, what I'm saying to you is that if you're not living in an abundance of women, then the chances are you're being too nice to women. Now, let's qualify that statement. We're going to do a little review of yesterday, and then we're going to get into today's lesson. So in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you, you're going to learn how to come across as that powerful guy who is clearly not a nice guy, right? So the qualities and behaviors and actions that I'm going to tell you, that I'm going to share with you today, are going to show you how to behave in a way where women are going to look at you and they're going to be like, yeah, okay, that's definitely not a nice guy, right? And we all know, goes without saying, but you don't want to be a nice guy inside this game, okay? Women don't go after the nice guys. I think we all know that. So the review from yesterday is, we said yesterday, we defined the difference between being kind versus being nice. Now, when we're saying we're going to kill the nice guy inside of us, we're not saying that you need to become a jerk or an asshole in order to get women, okay? We're not saying that you need to become mean or rude or anything bad. What we're saying is, the saying that I came up with is, I am kind, but I'm not nice. I am kind, but I'm not nice. And that's kind of the motto that we're going to operate through inside this workshop. So we said the difference between kindness, being kind, and being nice is usually when you're being nice, you're allowing people to manipulate you, you're putting yourself second, and you're just kind of being a pushover. When you're being kind, you're doing kind things on your own terms. You're doing them because you want to do them, and you're not letting anybody manipulate you. Now, we're going to actually talk about that more today. So let's get into it. So the first principle of killing the nice guy is you need to adopt the principle of putting yourself first. Okay? Putting yourself first. The problem with the nice guy is that he doesn't put himself first. He put others before him. So the concept of put yourself first is, in the airplane, before takeoff, they're saying in a case of an emergency, make sure to put your mask on first before helping others. Now, the psychology behind that is that, hey, if you don't take care of yourself first, and then, you're trying to help the person next to you and then you pass out, well, then now you've become a liability to everyone else. And if you're passed out, you're not awake, so you're not there to help anyone else. So the psychology is, before you can be there for other people, you need to first be there for yourself. Well, this applies in life too. Okay, and women intuitively understand this. When a woman sees that you're putting her well-being before yours, then here's the thought process she goes through, okay? And here's what you need to really pay attention to. Women aren't only looking at how you behave with them, they're also observing how you behave in general with people. Okay, let's say that again. Women are not only looking how you behave with them, they're also observing, hey, how does this guy behave with people in general? And the nice guy in general puts other people before himself. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, but let me here's what a woman perceives when she sees that you're putting others' interest before your own. Okay, she's thinking, oh, look, this guy, I manipulated this guy to do something for me that wasn't in his best interest. I managed to manipulate this guy into putting his own best interest second and mine first. If I can manipulate him, that means other people can manipulate him too. If I can manipulate him and other people can manipulate him, that means he's not that smart. Now, what did we say yesterday? We're living in an age where strength comes from how smart you are, not how big your muscles are. So when women are testing you for power, they want to know that you are smart enough and savvy enough not to be manipulated by others. Because here's the thinking of a woman. If I could manipulate him to put his needs second to mine, and I've seen him in the workplace or whatever, and other people also, he puts their needs in front of his. Well, then if I were to marry this guy and we have a family unit, how can I trust that this guy, because he's so nice, isn't going to get manipulated by, let's say, another woman and she's going to steal him away from me? Or what's to say this guy's not going to get manipulated by some people that are going to cheat him out of money? Or, he's not going to get promoted because he keeps getting used. So then that affects the family unit. So I cannot depend on this man to provide security for the family, for the relationship. So remember yesterday we said women's biggest core need is the need to feel safe. And if you're playing this game, you always have to satisfy that need first. So when you're not putting yourself first, you're thinking, oh, look, I'm going to show her how much I like her by putting her before me. But that's not how it works. She's not going to be happy about that. She's going to be like, oh no, I can't trust this guy. Okay? So again, she's going to think, oh look, well, this guy can be manipulated and he's not on my level because I manipulated him. Remember, a woman wants a man who is as powerful or more powerful than her. Okay? Why? Because she needs to feel safe. She needs someone to provide security for her. Now, we're not saying women are incapable of providing security for themselves. All we're saying is on the instinctual level, when looking for a mate, a female is looking for a man that's as powerful or more powerful than her to satisfy her need of security. That's all it is, right? So what that means is you can't let the woman see that she has outsmarted you. If a woman is like, oh, I'm going away for the weekend. Can you watch my dog? Right? And you're like, okay, I'll watch your dog. Right? Immediately she's like, he's not on my level. I intimidated him. There's no reason why he should watch my dog for free. We're not going out. He's not my boyfriend. I'm not paying him. I just tilted my head and twiddled my hair a bit. And he said yes. So I manipulated him, which means he's not on my level, which means he's not a good mate for me. You see what I'm saying? So you have to always be very careful when communicating with women that, we're going to talk about, there is a time and a place to serve women, but you got to do it on your own terms. If they manipulated you into serving them, then that's just, they've basically overpowered you. Mentally they've outsmarted you, and hence you have demonstrated to them that you are a beta male that is not up to, it's not up to her, that's less than her, right? Less powerful than her, and hence useless to her. Okay? If you're less powerful than her, then what does she need you for? She doesn't need you. So coming back to the principle of you got to put yourself first. A lot of guys will argue, hey, Jad, that's kind of selfish, isn't it, to put myself first? It is actually not. It is the most loving and responsible thing you could do as a man, not just in relation to women, but in relation to your friends and family. The only way you can be strong for others is to first make sure you're strong yourself. The only way that you're going to be strong yourself is by making sure that your needs are fulfilled first. Okay? You need to make yourself strong first. So if you're constantly subjugating your own needs and your own well-being for others, what happens is you get drained of your life energy. And then once you're drained of your life energy, you're kind of like, metaphorically, you're just kind of like crawling along and you're less strong. So you're less there for others. You see what I'm saying? So let's take an example. You're at work, you're a really nice guy, and your boss is always asking you to stay overtime. Now, you don't want to stay overtime, but because you're such a nice guy, you say yes, even though you want to say no, even though, you know what, you have, a meeting with your friends later, but now you're going to have to cancel, or you have, some kind of health issue and you're really super tired and it's starting to affect you physically or whatever it is, right? But you keep saying yes. You don't put yourself first. You put your boss's needs first because you're being quote unquote nice. Do you see how that's toxic? Do you see how that eventually you're hurting yourself? And then if you hurt yourself, you're hurting everyone in your family unit, your friends in your family, because now you're not strong for them. You're not there for them because you're deteriorating yourself. So, rule number one, always, always, always put yourself first. Never put the woman first. Never put anyone first. The responsible and loving thing to do is to put yourself first every time. Now, I'm going to change topics for a second just to let you know I'm looking for 2 men to mentor very closely for a period of 3 to 6 months. I'm going to work with you over Zoom, one-on-one, to completely transform your life with women. If that's something you want to explore, go to calljad.com and schedule a quick 15-minute call and we'll talk about it. So again, I'm looking for 2 guys to mentor very closely and pass down everything I know. And I'll spend around 3 to 6 months with you. So if you're interested in that, go to calljad.com and we can discuss if it's the right option for you. I've helped dozens of men completely transform, and now a lot of my past students are either getting casual sex with, a lot of women and they have the abundance of women, or they found that one special girl and they're either in a girlfriend boyfriend relationship or happily married. So a lot of guys have gone through this coaching and found a lot of success. So if they could do it, and I've worked with some extreme cases, so if they could do it, you can do it too. All you need to do is be really dedicated and ready to change this part of your life. So if you would like an opportunity to work with me intimately, closely for 3 to 6 months, jump over to calljad.com and schedule a free call where we'll discuss together. So now let us talk about some strategies and behaviors and habits that you need in order to stop being a nice guy and in order to start putting yourself first. The first thing that you really have to take very seriously, and this is something that a lot of my past clients have struggled with, is say no. A powerful man has no trouble saying no. Hey, can you stay overtime? No. Hey, can you get me and Jenny some coffees? No. Hey, can you watch my dog for the weekend when I'm going out for the week? I'm going with my girlfriends on a trip? No. Okay? You need to start having a backbone and saying no when things don't serve you, or when people are asking you for favors that they shouldn't ask of you. So let's qualify this to clarify. So I'm giving all these examples of women saying, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do that for me? I'm not saying that you should never do anything nice for women ever. That's not what I'm saying. So let's address what I am saying, okay? There are 2 different ways people ask you to do things: an honest way and a manipulative way. Okay? So you need to understand that here's the thing. You should, unless a woman is your girlfriend or higher, okay, girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever, okay, unless she's your girlfriend or higher, she shouldn't be asking you for stuff for free. Meaning, hey, can you pick up a coffee for me? Why should I? Okay, again, the best thing to do is to look at her and be like, okay, picture if that was a man asking me, would I go and get him a coffee for no reason? No, I'm not his slave. Why would I go get him a coffee for no reason? Right? Or, hey, can you watch my dog for the weekend? Why should I? Are you going to pay me? You know, I got better things to do than to watch your dog while you go and do stuff, fun stuff. Why should I? You see what I'm saying? So I know on the surface, for some of you, you may think like, oh, but this is being selfish. Shouldn't you be a giving person? Blah, blah, blah. Just stay with me for a bit, okay? And you'll realize where we're going. Again, we're going to get to the part where you can do good things for women, but it'll be on your terms, okay? Here's what I have learned about women, and I'm disappointed to say this, okay? It pains me to say this, but this has been my personal experience. I'm not saying this is the absolute truth of how women are, but in my experience, this is how I have found women to be and women's nature. In my life, in my experience, what I have found is that women are terrible at distinguishing the difference between kindness and weakness. Okay? Let's say that again. What I have found is women are terrible at distinguishing the difference between kindness and weakness. Okay? And we're talking about inside the context of courtship and the courtship dance. What do I mean about this? What I mean is that historically, whenever I've just been like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to be a nice guy and I'm going to do this for her. Or, you know, maybe the girl wasn't acting, you know, she was kind of disrespectful or something. And instead of me calling her out, I'm like, you know what? She probably just had a bad day. I'll just let it slip. Whenever I let things slide, or whenever I say, you know, I don't have to go get them coffees, but I'll be a nice guy and go get them coffees. Whenever I did anything just like nice out of kindness, it has, I can't say always, but very often been interpreted as weakness. Okay? So when a woman disrespects us and we just kind of let it go, instead of her thinking, he's such a nice guy, he let it go, she's thinking, that sucker let me disrespect him. What a bitch. Okay. Now she's not consciously thinking that, but that's what her nature is thinking. Okay. And it's like, I got Jennifer and Sarah some coffees. They asked me and I went and got them. You know, again, consciously they remember like, he got us coffees, but their nature is like, that sucker went and got us coffees for no reason. I would never go for him and Jack to get coffees if they asked me, right? That's their nature. I'm talking about nature. I always talk about the primal, the instinctual, okay? Not what they're consciously thinking, but that's what I found a lot of times, that's how they would interpret things. That's how they would interpret my free kindness. Okay, let's call it that, my free kindness. So what I discovered is that a lot of times when I was just being a nice guy and doing a girl a favor or letting something slide, instead of her appreciating like, that's really great of Jad for being nice, for being understanding, they would take it as like, he was too weak to stand up to me, or I manipulated him and doing me a favor for no reason. Okay? And so for that reason, that's why I'm telling you, that's what this conversation is kind of about, is that when you're courting a woman, you should not be doing her favors for free. It should be some kind of exchange. Meaning, hey, Jad, can you go grab me a coffee on your way here? Okay, but then you're going to give me a 10-minute massage when I get there. Deal? Deal. Okay. Now I'm getting her a coffee, but she's paying me for it with a massage. You see what I'm saying? So whenever a girl's, and here's what you need to watch out with women. Women are they're innately charming. Okay? They're innately, let's say maybe a better word is they're innately seductive, right? So they're like, oh, can you get me a coffee? It sounds like such an innocent request. Hey, can you pick this up on your way here? It sounds so innocent. So you're like, oh yeah, well of course I will. I'm a guy and I don't read into things, right? That's how we are. We're simple. But you don't realize, even if she said it in a sweet voice, wake up, man. Be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What did Jad tell me? No things for free, right? So you playfully, if she's playfully asking you for something, you playfully counter with, okay, I'll happily do that for you, but what do I get in return? Or, okay, but you're going to give me a massage. Or, okay, well, maybe it's at work. It's like, okay, I'll grab you the coffee, but you're going to do that report for me today. All right. Like, so I get her to do something for me. So what's the psychology behind that? Number one, remember, what does a woman want? Does a woman want a slave that does stuff for her? Or does a woman want a man who's as powerful or more powerful than her? She wants a man who's on her level. So when I'm saying, yes, I'll do something for you if you don't do something for me, what I'm saying is like, I'm not subjugating myself by grabbing you a coffee on the way to the office, because, I'm saying I'm getting you a coffee, you're giving me a massage, or you're doing that, working that paper that I hate working on. Okay. And so in her eyes, and then again, in her instinct, she's like, oh, I didn't take advantage of this guy. Oh, he asked something of return. Oh, he put me to work. Here's a principle that I've always used a long time. Okay. I forgot who I learned this from. Maybe it was Eben Pagan. Human beings do not value what they do not work for. That's a writer downer. Human beings do not value what they do not work hard for. So with that psychology, what are we saying? We're saying is you got to put women to work. Just like they're trying to put you to work, you got to put them to work. So she's putting me to work to grab that coffee on the way to the office. I'm putting her to work by paying me back by working on that paper that I don't want to work on, right? That's just one random example. Okay? Excuse me. So when you put a woman to work, what you're communicating to her is, hey, sweetheart, we're equals. Don't get it twisted. Don't, you can be as cute and sweet and, as you want. I ain't falling for that. As sweet as your voice is, as twinkly as those beautiful eyes get. No. We're going to have some fair exchanges back and forth, sweetheart. Okay? And when you talk to her like that, her instinct, she's like, finally a real man. Okay? Now she's like, oh, fuck. I think I finally found a guy. See what I'm saying? So when you're courting a woman, which the courtship dance is, she's sizing you up. Are you powerful enough for me? Okay, remember what we said in day one. And you should watch day one, man. If you didn't watch day one, you got to watch every single day of this course. This is all connected. Day one, we said women want, above everything else, they want power. They want a powerful man. When you're coming in at her level and countering her, say, I'll do this for you, but you do that. And then she has to agree. She's like, I couldn't overpower him. Nice. Okay. And now it's game on. Now it's game on because she found a guy that's on her level. So what we're saying so far is, number one, you have to be a guy who's okay with saying no. Okay. Maybe something she requests of you is unreasonable. Say no. Hey, can you watch my apartment for the weekend? Sorry, no, I can't. Okay. So you can either say, okay, I'll do that for you, but you do this for me when you get back. Okay. Or just simply say, no, sorry, I can't. Right? So you need to understand, every time a woman asks you a favor, now I'm giving you big examples like, or obvious examples like, watch my apartment, walk my dog, buy me a coffee on your way here. But you got to be careful because sometimes it's like, maybe she's sitting here and she's thirsty and she says, oh, can you grab me a water from the kitchen? Right? That's a sneaky one. That's a sneaky one. Now, that depends on the context, but anytime, here's the deal. I need your antennas to be up all the time. Why? Because women often mistake kindness for weakness. So, in every context, when a woman asks you to do something, you want to ask yourself, okay, well, is she going to appreciate this, or is this going to make me, is she going to make me, she's going to think, oh, look, I just manipulated him into something, right? Now, another side note, I don't want you to get obsessive about this, paranoid about this, or overly concerned with this. And I don't want you to think that if you go and get a girl a water, that's it, you're done, and then she's gonna be like, ah, sucker, you got me a water. Okay, it's not that bad. Okay, it's just I'm having trouble. Like I'm trying to think of a small thing on the fly that a woman might ask you that may or may not, be a, let's say, a test, a power test. But like, let's say if if you're at your apartment and asks you to go get some water, then you would go get some water, right? But let's say she's at her apartment and she asks you to go get water. Depending on what's going on in the relationship, you may be like, you go get the water, right? In a playful way, of course, right? So there aren't like hard, steadfast rules, but you want to kind of feel your way through this and just always make sure that there's an equal exchange going on overall. So the next part of this that in terms of being a nice guy that you really need to understand, and what we're still talking about, women often mistake kindness for weakness, is that what I've also learned is that you can't let things slide when you're in the courtship dance with a woman. Meaning, if she acts disrespectful towards you, you gotta call her out on it. Okay? If she acts like in any way that's less than what your standard is for how you expect to be treated, you gotta call her out on it. Maybe she kept you waiting there for 25 minutes, you gotta call her out on it. Maybe she's, not pulling her weight, you gotta call her out on it. Maybe, whatever it is, the nice guy, again, he doesn't put himself first, and so he doesn't call people out on bad behavior. Okay? And then he thinks, oh, I'll let it slide, I'll let it slide, I'll let it slide, I'll let it slide. Well, again, when a woman knows when she has disrespected you. Oh, stop. What did Jad just say? A woman always knows when she has disrespected you. Okay? So she also knows when you don't call her out on it. And when you don't call her out on her bullshit, she's thinking, okay, this guy's a bit of a chump. This guy's a bit naive. Is this a nice guy? He just let me talk to him like this. He just was waiting there for 35 minutes and he didn't just So you got to call women out. So here are some examples. Let me tell you a story actually that kind of caught me off guard and kind of shocked me. So I had this argument with a girl that she was my girlfriend at the time. We had this big argument and, basically she did something and it was her fault. It was her fault. And, long story short, at the end of the day, she realized, oh, it was all her fault, right? So then she came to me and I was really pissed. I mean, this is a big argument, right? And I was really pissed and I was just so pissed at her because it was her fault. She shouldn't have done that. She did that, this whole thing. She didn't apologize, whatever. Well, finally, she realized that it was her fault, right? And this is a few days later or whatever. And she came up to me and she said, you know what? No, yeah, that was my bad. I'm sorry. Right? And I looked at her and I'm like, it's okay. And then what she said next completely shocked me and even disappointed me a bit. She looked at me and she kind of snickered a bit she said, oh, that was easy. Right? And at that moment, I'm like, motherfucker. Okay, so Let me break down if you don't understand what just happened there. Basically, and then I learned something. My mind did a rapid rewind, and I realized, oh shit, women do this all the time. So basically, she said sorry once, and then I just accepted her apology. I'm like, oh, it's okay. And then she's like, oh, that was easy. What do women do when they're pissed at us and we come and apologize? Do they instantly forgive us and say, oh, that's okay? Sometimes, but most of the time, what do? Most of the time, they're like, oh, well, you're going to have to make it up to me, right? Or they'll make you apologize 10 times and buy them flowers and do all this stuff. And then finally, after you've done all this stuff, then they're like, okay, I forgive you, right? So her reaction of like, huh, that was easy. Translation, huh, chump, okay? She basically called me a chump, okay? She basically said, huh, I just manipulated you, or oh, you're easy to manipulate, right? Why? Because I just forgave her, like, oh, it's okay. So what I learned, and what I'll pass on to you, is that if a woman does you wrong, and then, it's time for her to apologize, and she apologizes, instead of just saying, I forgive you, if it was something significant, say, or even maybe not that significant, right? Just say, do what they do, and say, okay, well, how are you going to make it up to me? Or I'll forgive you, but you got to make it up to me. Right? And then we're going back. Women, human beings don't appreciate what they don't have to work hard for. You're basically saying, okay, work hard for your apology. Show me with your action. This is what women do to us all the time, if you think about it. Show me with your actions that you're sorry, not just your words. Words are easy. Prove to me that you're sorry, motherfucker. That's what women do to us. We're flipping the script. So a woman apologizes to you, say, okay, well, yeah, well, what are you going to do to make it up to me? All right. And then have her give you a 2-hour massage, some great sexual experience, buy you dinner, whatever it is. And then after she's done something, then you say, okay, I forgive you. So the takeaway from that little story is the nice guy will just be like, oh, it's okay. Right. I made that mistake. Instead say, instead put her to work. How are you going to make it up to me? Or you're going to do this to make it up to me. Okay. That's very, very useful information. So take it and use it. So coming back to women, there's a saying in English, you give someone an inch, they take a mile. You give someone an inch, they take a mile. So women are like that. Humans are like that. Okay. But it just so happens that we're talking about women. So one important thing about the conversation today and this whole series is I'm not trying to get you to hate women or be against women. No. We're on the same team. Us and women are on the same team. We love women. It's all good, okay? I'm just teaching you how to be a powerful guy, and I'm teaching you the nature of women and all that stuff. Nobody's bad. Nobody's the bad guy or the good guy in this story. I'm just telling you what it is, all right? So with women, you can't let bad behavior slide. If she's late or always late, you got to be like, listen, you always keep me waiting. Not cool. Not up to my standard. Get here on time, or whatever, right? Or, hey, you're like 30 minutes late. You got to make it up to me. Okay, today you're paying for dinner. Whatever it is, okay? Again, and don't think, oh, that's not nice. That's not gentlemanly. What you got to worry about is the power levels. She's late. You're sitting there waiting. So she arrives and you're down here because you were waiting for her. So you got to bring yourself back up by saying, okay, well, you're late. That's not cool. And okay, well, what are you going to do to make it up to me? Or okay, after dinner, you owe me an hour massage. Okay. And now you're back up. See what I'm saying? So you got to be thinking power. As I said in day one, which you must watch, it's foundational. This is a power game. Don't get it twisted. Don't get confused. Don't get distracted. The courtship dance is a power game. It's a power game. A woman is trying to see if you are at least as powerful or more powerful than her. If you are, you get her. If you're not, you don't get her. It's that simple. So this brings us to our next concept, which is having rules and boundaries and being clear in what your rules are and always enforcing your rules. You need clear rules and boundaries. Okay, let's use this hand. Clear rules and boundaries. And you need to be very clear on what those rules and boundaries are. And you need to enforce them. The wind just broke my curtain rod. We'll take care of that later. Okay, that's fine. So the nice guy's mistake is, number one, he's not clear on what his rules and boundaries are. And number two, he doesn't enforce those rules or boundaries. We can step all on top of the nice guy's boundaries all day long, 24/7, and he's going to take it like a little bitch. All right? Like this happens at work all the time. Hey, Johnny, can you stay overtime 2 hours tonight? Because I got to go. I'm the supervisor. I'm sorry, Johnny, I got to go. And I make up I have some bullshit excuse. My family, my this, my that. I got to go, Johnny. Can you just take over for me, please, man? Be a buddy, be a champ. All right. And then poor Johnny takes it on, right? Because I know that Johnny's a nice guy and he has no boundaries. So I'm going to step all over Johnny. I'm a human. Human nature, we step all over weakness. Okay? That's what we do. Male, female, doesn't matter. You understand? So part of killing the nice guy is you got to get a bit tough. You got to get access a bit of your dark side and say, look, what are my standards of how I'm going to be treated? You need to start treating yourself better. When you're letting people walk all over you, you're not being very loving to yourself, are you? That's one of your big problems. Okay? You need to be loving towards yourself first. So how do you do that? You do that by saying, okay, well, what are my standards of how I should be treated? What are my standards? What are my rules? And, how do I refuse to be treated? And then you need to enforce that stuff. Excuse me, now we're playing with the AC. Okay? Now we're playing with the AC. So women can feel whether you have clear rules and boundaries and standards and whether you enforce them or not. And your job, I'm just looking at the fan, it's going like this. And then we stop it there. Okay, so women, when they talk to you, they can get a sense if you're very strong in your boundaries and rules or not. Okay? Let's take the analogy of being a teacher, okay? Dealing with kids, or even a parent, okay? The way to have kids listen to you and be generally disciplined is to be a constant enforcer of clear rules, okay? So the teacher or the parent that gets in trouble is the one that enforces the rules only some of the time, but other times he lets it slide. What did we say before? Don't let anything slide. They're going to mistake kindness for weakness, right? So similarly, when you have rules of how you want to be treated, maybe a simple rule is, I demand that you talk to me with respect. Okay, that's a non-negotiable for me. You're going to be my girl. We're going to be dating casually and any whatever. You got to have some degree of control over yourself, even when you get mad, and you cannot talk to me in a certain way, right? That's my rule. Well, if that's my rule and the girl starts talking to me in a disrespectful way, I'm going to just firmly say, hey, stop. The way you're talking right now is unacceptable. Okay? So either, let's see each other later, or you calm down. Okay, those are the two options, but there's no third option of her continuing to talk to me in that way with that tone. Okay, so that's a rule, and I always enforce that rule. And I'm clear on that rule with both men and women. And I've had to enforce that rule with both men and women throughout my life. Hey, stop. The way you're talking right now, no. I won't hear it. I won't take it. Okay, with a man, I'm telling him, you keep talking like that, there's going to be a fight. Okay, with a woman, I'm telling her, you keep talking like that, I'm going that way, you're going that way. I'm not standing here and taking that. And I'm firm in that. So, what are your rules? What are your boundaries? And then you make sure you enforce them. Maybe you're at work. Hey, Bill, can you do overtime? no, Mike, actually, I told you last week that I'm not interested in overtime, and I'm just don't come to me for overtime. I'm not, I'm not doing overtime. Done. If that's your rule, then it's not like, Mike comes to you with a good enough story and then you're like, okay, I'll take the overtime. No, I don't do overtime. I don't do overtime. That's it. Okay. Just giving you examples. So the problem of the nice guy, and women know that this is your problem, is you don't have boundaries. This is also connected to saying no. When you don't have clear rules and boundaries, people ask you stuff and you don't say no because you're not clear on your rules and your boundaries, and you're not a constant enforcer of your rules and your boundaries and your standards. So get boundaries, define what they are, get your rules, define what they are, and always, always enforce them. And when we say enforce, none of this is aggressive. It's assertive, not aggressive. Okay? Hey, this is my rule. Stop. The way you're behaving or the way whatever, not acceptable. This is my rule. These are my rules. You want to play by them? Great. This is going to work out. You don't want to play with them? That's okay, sweetheart. I wish you a great life. Take care. Okay, it's not a negotiation. It's either my way or the highway. These are my standards. These are my rules. Would you like to, can you play within them? Great. Let's continue this. You can't? Okay, great. You know what? It was great meeting you. Great spending that short time together, but I wish you all the best, sweetheart. Good luck. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's lesson. So basically what you learned today is you have to put yourself first. You also learned that women often mistake kindness for weakness. So you have to make sure that in the initial part of the courtship dance, you do more equal exchange to show her that you're on her level. We've also learned not to let things slide with women, to call them out so that they know that, again, you're at their level and that they have to respect you and follow, that you have standards. You love yourself enough that you have standards. And also, when you show a woman that you don't take crap from her or anyone else, that shows her that you're powerful. And hence, if you're going to protect yourself, you're going to protect your family unit, and that's going to make her feel safe as well. So we talked about setting rules, setting boundaries, saying no, and stay tuned for day 3, where we're going to talk about how you can challenge women, how you can put them to work, how you can use a psychological trick where they're going to feel like, oh, I must really like this guy. And, you're kind of putting them to work to get your approval. And, I'm going to show you some power battle strategies where you're going to outpower her and outmaneuver her. And remember, a woman wants a man who's as powerful or more powerful than her. And tomorrow we're going to talk about actual strategies on how to do that. I'm also going to talk to you about how to overcome your need for approval from women, okay, which is also a great topic. So stay tuned for day 3. Leave any questions you have in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer your questions. One more time, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one over Zoom in an intimate fashion, where I'm going to help you transform into the powerful man who attracts and dates the women you're truly attracted to, all you need to do is visit calljad.com, and we'll have a quick 15 to 20 minute conversation together. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in day 3. Take care. I'm looking for 2 men to mentor very closely for a period of 3 to 6 months. I'm going to work with you over Zoom, one-on-one, to completely transform your life with women. If that's something you want to explore, go to calljad.com and schedule a quick 15-minute call, and we'll talk about it. So again, I'm looking for 2 guys to mentor very closely and pass down everything I know, and I'll spend around 3 to 6 months with you. So if you're interested in that, go to calljad.com and we can discuss if it's the right option for you. I've helped dozens of men completely transform, and now a lot of my past students are either getting casual sex with, a lot of women and they have the abundance of women, or they found that one special girl and they're either in girlfriend boyfriend relationship or happily married. So a lot of guys have gone through this coaching and found a lot of success. So if they could do it, and I've worked with some extreme cases, so if they could do it, you can do it too. All you need to do is be really dedicated and ready to change this part of your life. So if you would like an opportunity to work with me intimately, closely for 3 to 6 months, jump over to calljad.com and schedule a free call where we'll discuss together.